This is the first lesson of the transformations unit. We're going to discuss very briefly what a transformation is and go over the first transformation that you will be responsible for. A transformation is a change in the position, size, shape, or orientation of a figure. The result of a transformation is called an image. We call it a prime. The first of the transformations is called a translation. A translation is a slide of a figure to a different position on the coordinate plane. We're taking something and moving it around. We're not flipping it, we're not spinning it, we're not making it bigger or smaller. We're just going to slide it to a different place on the grid. The size, shape, and orientation of the figure do not change. To translate a point, move it in the given direction, however far you're told to. The image of a figure is noted with a little apostrophe. So we call, if it starts out as A, it'll be A prime, which is A with a little apostrophe next to it. We're going to complete a few examples together, then you will complete some on your own. So there's going to be 5 examples here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You'll notice there's a little bit of a different notation here for each one of these. We'll discuss that as we go through them. So for the first example, we want to take the point A, negative 3, 2, and we want to translate it to the right 7 units and down 4 units. Okay, so the very first thing is we want to graph the point A at negative 3, 2. Remember, you're always going to start at the origin. You're going to move backwards 3 on the x-axis because it's negative 3, and you're going to move up 2 because it's positive 2. So our point should end up right around here. And we are, of course, going to label it with an A. Now the translation says we want to go to the right 7 units and down 4 units. So we're going to move from here to the right 7, and then we are going to go down 4. So our image is going to end up right down here. So we'll graph a point there, and we will label it A prime. If you wouldn't mind, when you're copying this down, draw the arrows in just for that first example so you know exactly what you did, but you don't have to do it for the rest of them. Problem 2. Point B is at 4, negative 3. So let's start by graphing the point B at 4, negative 3. Don't forget to label it. And now you need to look at this notation. It's a little bit different. It doesn't tell you which direction to go. It just says x minus 5, y plus 2. What you're actually doing is taking your x value from the point and subtracting 5 from it. So 4 minus 5 gives you a negative 1. And then you're taking your y value of negative 3 and you're going to add 2 to it. So negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. So our image of this should be at the point negative 1, negative 1. So we're going to go backwards 5, up 2, and your image will be right here at the point negative 1. Do not forget to label it B prime. Okay, on to the third one. The point C is at negative 5, 1. So we graph our point C, negative 5, 1. It came up a little early there, but that's okay. And we have one other type of notation here. It has a T, which stands for translation, and then just 2, negative 3. Now that doesn't mean it moves to the point 2, negative 3. It means you're taking and adding 2 onto your x value. You're adding 2 onto your x value. So you're going to go positive 2 on your x. And you're taking 3 away from your y value. So you're going negative 3 on your y. So down 3. The image should end up somewhere right around here at negative 3, negative 2, because negative 5 plus 2 gives you negative 3, and positive 1 minus 3 gives you negative 2. So your image will be right down here. Make sure you label it with a C prime. I'm going to start this first timer here so that you can copy down those points, write down any other notes that you need. So hopefully you have that down. If you did not pause it in there, you might want to do that in the future when you're given a timer in case you do not have enough time. What I'd like to do now is I'm going to start this next timer, and I want you to try and complete examples 4 and 5 on your own. They're very similar to problems 2 and 3. Alright, so looking at problem 4 here, it says D 4, 5, and we're going to do an x plus 1, y minus 7. So graph your point D at 4, 5. Make sure you label it D. And now we want to add 1 to our x value. Add 1 to our x value, so it goes from 4 to 5. And we're going to subtract 7 from our y value, so it goes from 5 all the way down to negative 2. We're going to graph our new point at 5, negative 2. And don't forget to label it D prime. You'll notice that labeling is very important, especially once you get all of these points on here. If they're all the same color, you're not going to know what's what if you don't label it. Last example is number 5 here. We have point E at negative 5, negative 2. Again, don't forget to label it. And we're going to do a translation of 3, 3. So we're going to be adding 3 to our x, adding 3 to our y. So to the right 3, and up 3. So we'll be at the point negative 2, positive 1. Graph your new point and label it E prime. Now you're not going to be asked to just translate points all the time. Sometimes you're going to have to translate a whole figure. To do that, perform the same translation to all points in the figure. We're going to do a triangle here first. We have the vertices x, y, and z. So the very first thing you're going to do, graph all 3 vertices. We're going to graph x at negative 6, 1. And I have to use the pen here because I could not label them for some reason when I was making this. We're going to graph y at negative 1, 4. Label these in here just so I know what's what. And we're going to graph z at negative 2, positive 1. Now we want to connect those with a straight edge so that we have our figure. This is going to make a triangle like I said before. If you want to color it in, you can. I don't suggest it, but you're welcome to. I was just trying to make it easier to see here. And we want to translate triangle XYZ to the right 6 units and down 4 units. So you're going to take point X here, and you're going to go to the right 6 and down 4. You're going to take point Y and go to the right 6 and down 4. And you're going to take point Z and go to the right 6 and down 4. Again, you're taking each one of those points, and essentially it's just taking the whole triangle and shifting it down and over. And definitely do not forget to label your x prime, your y prime, and your z prime. That was a bad z, but that's okay. I'll give you some time here to copy that down. That is pretty much all there is for translations. It's just taking a point, sliding it over, sliding it down, or sliding it up, whichever way you're told to go. If you have any questions, you can leave them as a comment on the bottom of this page, and I'll go over them tomorrow in class. Or you can jot them down in the margin of your notes and ask me tomorrow at some point so that I can help you in any way that I can. Thank you. Bye.